Hui shouted loudly, sternly warning Taizhen and the others to shut up immediately as Junri's body was temporarily placed in the cold storage. Yunhao expressed his complaint with a heavy heart. Why do we have to argue endlessly at such a solemn funeral ceremony? Taizhen remained silent instead, inquiring about who the man beside him with glasses was. Yunhao turned to explain, that's Junri's best buddy, Shangyi. Just then, Hui walked out. Hui said she wanted to go home and grab some stuff. Yunhao offered to drive her, saying it was a good chance to get some fresh air. They just stepped out. Taizhen saw a police officer hand him a document, ready to ask what happened. At this moment, old classmate Ju Song approached, greeting Taizhen and tearfully lamenting how tragic Junri's death was. Half an hour later, Yunhao dropped Hui off. He didn't join her upstairs. As the elevator doors closed, the guard said a registered letter for Junri. Yunhao said he was a classmate of Junri's and could deliver it. After the guard left, he glanced at the envelope, which read life insurance. Meanwhile, at the funeral, Taizhen put on a serious face and asked everyone to put down their chopsticks and quiet down a bit. He had something important to read. He then began to read Junri's will. On the other side, Yunjin couldn't resist his curiosity and secretly opened Junri's registered letter, which was filled with insurance. At the funeral, Taizhen's voice was unusually loud. Did you know that Junri took out a 5 billion accidental insurance policy just a week before his death? Even more coincidentally, the beneficiaries are not his wife Hui, but two old classmates he hadn't spoken to in ages, Zhang Daijing and Hu Yunjin. Main characters assemble. The show isn't like typical dramas, there are no extra characters. Each one has a clear backstory and personality, tying together a refreshingly intricate web of their motivations and desires to drive the plot, achieving nearly perfect logical consistency. Now let's take a quick glance at the character map. Don't worry if a character is frequently by your side. You'll occasionally think about checking in on them. Remembering isn't a must. If a character hasn't shown up in a while, I'll mark it on the left. The protagonist, Jing, is a narcotics officer who was framed for drug use right after his promotion. Looks like things are more complicated with Junri than they seem, but then Junri accidentally fell to his death. In the hour before he died, he called Yuan Zongzhu, Park Taizhen, Lai Panghu, and Wu Yunjin. Yunjin said he hung up right after answering the call. No one knows if that's true. The other three got calls too, but we don't know what was said. Yunjin is a gossip journalist chasing after celebrity scandals, making money much like our friend Ju Yijin. I hope this doesn't land me a lawsuit. Yuan Zongzhu is the heir of the Jingjiang Group, just taking over the pharmaceutical company and desperately wanting his father's approval. He's the leader of the trio, while Park Taizhen is a talented prosecutor minister, needing to grind hard in many ways. Lai Panghu is the captain of the Jingjiang Group security team and Yuan Zongzhu's chief bodyguard, but his contributions to the trio are hard to put into words. Yunhao's biggest dream is to upgrade the trio to a quartet, but Zongzhu always keeps him at bay. Danny is Junri's good brother who worked hard to get into medical school and is now hauling bricks at Zongzhu's pharmaceutical company. Zhu Song is Yunjin's spare tire, a manager at Jingjing Health Insurance Company, handling all of Junri's insurance affairs. These 9 people are split into 2 major groups. It's clear that Jing, Yunjin, Junri, and Zhu Song are a crew get used to these groupings. Zongzhu, Taizhen, and Panghu are the hardcore trio, while Shangyi's membership depends on his mood. And as for Yunhao, well, he's basically alone, but don't worry, he will have his moment. Jing has some big issues. He was the first to arrive at the scene of the abduction. He was also the first to arrive at the hospital. We just don't know if that's good or bad yet. Emery's wife, Hui, comes from a tragic background. She's one of the most well-rounded characters in the show. That wraps up our character introduction. Let's get back to the plot. In the funeral suite, Zongzhu sat quietly in a chair. Zongzhu inquired whether Junri mentioned anything on the phone. Taizhen and Panghu were deep in thought as they held a mini-meeting. Taizhen took out the will and said there's another beneficiary for Junri's insurance, someone they all knew. When Jing inquired about who Lai Menguo was, Zhu Song swiftly pulled out a notebook. Hui and Yunjin returned from outside. Yunjin asked if a friend buying a large insurance policy could get compensation in case of suicide. Beijing expressed his doubts about whether the insurance amounted to 5 billion, and Yunjin gasped in surprise. Hearing this, Yun Hao grew anxious and rushed downstairs to find the trio again, reiterating the need for a test. At that moment, two detectives approached, asking Xiao Hui if they could investigate something. Taijian inquired if it was about the will. Taijian then revealed that January had generously left the insurance money to two old classmates with whom he had hardly been in touch. Xiao Hui felt a pang in her chest and questioned Jijing if he had known about this all along. Her actions were meant to prove her husband didn't commit suicide, so the insurance company would pay out. Just then, the interrogation room door swung open and Taijian walked in stating there was no sign of homicide. The family clearly expressed they did not want an autopsy, and Taijian stated that this was the end of the matter. After saying that, he turned to leave, but Jijing suddenly stood up to stop him, causing the interrogation room to descend into chaos. The police chief quickly intervened, telling Jijing to stop making a scene. At this point, Xiao Hui declared she wanted an autopsy, and Taijian shot her a furious look. Xiao Hui stated that after her daughter passed away, she considered suicide, but ultimately chose to keep living. She firmly believed that, no matter what, her daughter wouldn't have taken her own life. Plus, leaving the insurance to two seemingly unrelated classmates with sensitive jobs, Jean-Marie wished for them to uncover the truth, while Zonju angrily chastised Taijian for his incompetence.